The wind hit Oren like a hammer. Snow tore across the plateau in white sheets, whipping his coat and biting at his face. He stumbled, his boots slipping on hidden ice, but a desperate high-pitched cry cut through the storm. Something small, terrified, in danger. Without thinking, he tore off in its direction, heart hammering. Every second counted. Through the blizzard, shapes barely formed out of the white fog. Then he saw them, two tiny figures half buried in snow, shivering and weak. Their scales shimmered faintly, glowing in colors he had never seen, pale blues and golds that pulsed with each shallow breath. Oren dropped to his knees, brushing snow off the smaller one. It flinched, a whimper trembling from its tiny body. The other lay motionless, its chest barely rising. Oren's chest tightened. "I won't let you die," he whispered. His hands shook as he scooped the twins into his coat. Instinct and adrenaline fought against the freezing cold. He scanned the horizon. Nothing but storm, nothing but white. No village, no roads, no hope of rescue. It was just him and these creatures, and the wind that seemed determined to take them all. As he trudged, the first hatchling blinked at him with wide, luminous eyes. Its tiny claws dug into his sleeve. The glow from their scales pulsed again, stronger this time, and for a moment the snow around them flickered, shadows dancing as if alive. Oren froze. What was this? He had never seen anything like it. His mind raced. Could these creatures be dangerous? Or were they calling for help in ways he couldn't yet understand? A jagged gust knocked him sideways, rolling him down a short slope. He hit the ground hard, but his arms tightened around the twins. One of them squeaked sharply, frightened by the fall. Oren's teeth clenched. "I've got you," he muttered. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he forced himself up. Every step became a battle against the cold that threatened to steal his breath, but giving up meant certain death for the little dragons. He found a shallow crevice in the ice and dug quickly with his hands, hollowing out a temporary shelter. The twins wriggled in his coat, trembling. He pressed them close to his chest, feeling their warmth against the cold, realizing he had no choice but to move forward alone. He tore strips from his coat to wrap around them, layering anything that could slow the frostbite creeping in. The first hatchling let out a soft chirp and nuzzled his neck. Oren's heart clenched with an unfamiliar tenderness. Even in this frozen wasteland, these creatures depended on him. Their survival was a direct challenge, a puzzle his mind had to solve. He looked around, scanning for danger. That's when he saw it, a massive shadow moving on the ridge above. Large, fast, impossible to ignore. Something watched him, something that could end them all in a single moment. Oren's pulse doubled. He gritted his teeth and squatted low, thinking fast. He could run, try to hide, or, no, he had the twins. Moving without them was easier, but leaving them meant death. Decision made. He would fight the storm and any creature that came for them. He needed to keep them alive. Every instinct screamed danger, but his courage flared brighter. A sudden pulse of energy surged from the twins. Oren blinked. The snow around them shivered, rippling like water. The shadow froze, hesitating, then vanished from sight. His mind spun. The twins, whatever they were not normal. Their small bodies held something powerful. And yet they were helpless, trusting him completely. Oren gathered his strength and started moving, each step deliberate, each breath measured. He murmured softly to them, "We'll make it. I promise. Just hold on." The storm roared back, blinding and cruel, but he refused to falter. His heart raced with fear and determination alike. As he climbed a small rise, he noticed a faint crack in the snow ahead, a hint of something buried beneath, something unnatural. He paused, his mind snapping to attention. Was it another creature? Or could it be shelter, perhaps a clue to why the twins had been left alone in this frozen wasteland? The twins stirred in his coat, glowing brighter, and Oren realized that whatever lay beneath that crack might change everything. One wrong step and they could be lost. One correct step and a secret might be revealed. He took a deep breath and stepped forward. And then the ground beneath him groaned, not the snow, not the ice, but something deep, alive, and enormous. Oren froze. The twins stiffened. A rumble rolled through the plateau, shaking the snow like thunder. Something was coming. Something that had been waiting. And Oren had no idea if he and the twins were ready for it. Oren's breath came in sharp bursts as he scrambled across the frozen plateau, the twins pressed tightly against his chest. The snow fell like needles, slicing at his face, and the wind threatened to knock him off his feet. He scanned the horizon, but the world was a blur of white, nothing but the occasional shadow of a jagged rock or the faint outline of a ridge. Somewhere above, the massive shadow he had seen earlier moved again, faster this time, circling, watching. He forced himself to move faster. One hatchling whimpered, the sound cutting through the roar of the storm. Orin's teeth clenched. "I won't let anything happen to you," he shouted, voice barely audible over the wind. The twins flinched at his words, but then the smaller one nudged his chin with its head as if it understood. That tiny gesture sparked hope in him, even as the danger grew. Ahead, he spotted a small depression in the ice, partially hidden by snowdrifts. It looked shallow, barely enough for shelter, but it would have to do. He lunged forward, shoving his body into the hollow, and began digging with his hands, scooping away the snow. The twins squirmed, curling against his chest, and he murmured reassurances. Every scoop of ice brought relief and fear at the same time. Relief that he was making shelter, fear that the shadow above might strike before he finished. A sudden roar split the wind, deep and resonant, vibrating through the ice under his feet. The shadow surged closer and Orin's heart hammered. He froze, holding the twins tightly, his mind racing. That sound, it wasn't just any creature. It was enormous. Older than anything he had ever imagined, powerful and ancient. The twins' glow flared brighter in his coat, pulsing with what felt like a heartbeat in time with the wind. Instinct screamed at him, protect, survive, move. Orin grabbed broken slabs of ice and piled them against the sides of the depression, creating crude walls. The twins pressed against him, shivering violently. He wrapped his coat tighter around them, letting his body heat flow to theirs. The blizzard was cruel, but now it seemed almost secondary to the predators circling overhead. Movement on the ridge caught his eye. A giant form, wings folded against its massive body, crouched above the storm. Its eyes, glowing faintly red, locked onto the twins. Orin's stomach dropped. He understood then. The shadow wasn't the storm, it wasn't the wind. It was something alive, something aware, hunting, or guarding. He made a decision. Staying hidden in the depression was no longer enough. He needed to act, to create a distraction. He rummaged through his pack, pulling out a flare and set it into the snow. The flare ignited with a hiss and flare of red light, smoke curling into the white chaos. The predator roared again, startled by the sudden bright flare in the blinding snow. Orin seized the moment, gathering the twins and sliding further down into the shallow hollow, out of sight from the ridge. One hatchling chirped, small but urgent. The other, weaker, coughed and trembled. Orin's chest tightened. "We're okay. Just hold on," he whispered, pressing his forehead to their tiny heads. His mind worked frantically, calculating his next move. The storm wasn't the only danger. There was a predator, massive and unknown, watching their every move. The twins had some kind of strange energy, but he had no idea how far it could reach or what it could do. Hours seemed to pass. Orin dug, reinforced, and adjusted, never letting the twins leave his chest. He spoke to them softly, testing responses. The braver hatchling mirrored his movements, stretching its tiny wings, trying to rise. Orin allowed a small smile. A micro-victory. They were learning trust, learning that he could be counted on, even in this frozen wasteland. Then the ice beneath them groaned. Orin froze, chest tight, listening. Not snow, not wind, something deeper, something massive. The twins' glow pulsed rapidly, like a warning. Orin's heart raced. Was the shadow above signaling them? Or was it a warning about something bigger, hidden beneath the plateau? A sudden crack split the ice near their shelter. Orin jumped, dragging the twins behind him, shielding them with his body. The crevice widened, exposing a faint glow underneath the frozen ground. He crouched, squinting. Faint carvings, ancient and alien, shimmered in the glow. Dragons. Twins. Humans. Working together. His mind whirled. How old was this? Why had the twins been left here alone? The braver hatchling chirped again, nudging Orin's cheek with its small head. It seemed drawn to the carvings, its glow brightening. The weaker one coughed, barely lifting its head. Orin's heart ached. He understood that these creatures were more than survival stakes. They were keys to something bigger, something long forgotten. A sudden, sharp gust slammed into the plateau, scattering snow and ice, and Orin realized the ridge was alive with movement. The predator had returned, circling closer. Orin hugged the twins tighter, bracing himself. The glow from their scales pulsed in response, small but undeniable, like a flicker of hope against impossible odds. Orin's mind raced. The twins were powerful but inexperienced. He had to protect them. He had to survive. And now he had discovered something buried beneath the ice, something that could change everything. The predator roared again, louder this time, shaking the frozen ground beneath them. Orin's chest tightened, his hands trembling as he adjusted the twins in his coat. The storm, the predator, the unknown beneath the ice, they all pressed in, a relentless test of courage and determination. He whispered to the twins, "We're not done yet. Not by far." Then, from the depths of the glowing crevice, a faint movement shifted beneath the ice, something alive, enormous and unseen. The twins stiffened. Orin's heart leapt. Whatever was down there had been waiting, and now it was awake. And just like that, the frozen plateau became a cage of uncertainty, the predator above, the unknown below, and Orin in the middle, carrying the fragile hope of two tiny dragons. The next step he took would decide all of their fates. Orin's muscles burned as he crawled deeper into the shallow hollow, the twins pressed against his chest, their tiny bodies quivering in the biting cold. Above, the wind shrieked like a living thing, but it was the stillness that unnerved him most. The massive predator had vanished, but its presence lingered, an invisible weight hanging over the plateau. Orin's mind raced. What was that creature and why had it left, if only temporarily? He scanned the edges of the crevice, fingers brushing against the frozen ground. Something beneath him shifted, subtle but undeniable. His pulse spiked. He had already seen strange things, twins glowing with a mysterious energy, carvings beneath the ice, but this was different. Deeper. Older. Dangerous. The braver hatchling stirred in his coat, sensing his tension. Its wings fluttered slightly, glowing brighter with each movement. Orin marveled at it for a moment. The twins weren't just helpless creatures. They were aware, intelligent, responsive. And somehow, powerful. That energy radiating from them, it pulsed in time with the ground beneath his hands. Orin's mind clicked. Could the twins be connected to whatever was sleeping under the ice? Could they have been left here for a reason? He leaned closer, brushing away layers of frost, when his fingers hit something smooth and unnatural. A carving, shallow at first, then deeper, a faint outline of figures. Dragons, twin dragons exactly like the hatchlings. And humans, small figures standing beside them. He froze, staring at the lines etched into the ice. A story thousands of years old, hiding beneath the frozen plateau. Orin traced the symbols with trembling fingers. Why had he never heard of this? What had happened to this bond between humans and dragons? The weaker hatchling stirred, letting out a tiny squeak. Orin adjusted them in his coat, murmuring, "It's okay. We'll figure this out." Its glow pulsed in response, faint but steady. Then, something happened that stole the breath from his lungs. The carvings began to shimmer in response to the twins' light. Pale blues and golds danced across the ice, illuminating shapes and patterns that had been invisible in the storm. Orin gasped. The twins were reacting to the carvings. Alive in a way that defied reason. Could this energy, their power, be linked to the ancient bond the ice told of? He felt a thrill and a chill all at once. They weren't just lost, they were chosen. Somehow, the twins were part of something far larger than survival. A low rumble rolled through the plateau. Orin's heart thumped in panic, but this wasn't the predator above. This was deeper. Something massive moved beneath the ice, responding, or perhaps awakened, by the twins' presence. The braver hatchling chirped urgently, wings lifting slightly, almost in warning. Orin's mind raced. He had to act fast, but how do you protect creatures connected to forces he could barely comprehend? He glanced around the hollow, assessing options. The depression offered little cover and his supplies were meager. But he had to use what he had. Gathering loose chunks of ice, he began stacking and shaping a crude protective barrier around the twins, careful to avoid the glowing carvings. Every move was deliberate. Every second mattered. One misstep and they could be crushed by the predator, the storm, or whatever was stirring beneath the plateau. The rumble grew louder, the ground vibrating beneath his knees. Orin froze, pressing the twins closer, murmuring, "We can do this. We can survive." The braver hatchling nuzzled his chest in response, its glow flaring. The weaker one coughed, trembling, but it too began to react, faint light flickering along its scales. Orin realized in that instant, the twins weren't just responding, they were communicating, signaling. They were telling him what to do. Then, something he did not expect. The weaker hatchling's glow intensified suddenly, pulsing through the ice like a heartbeat. The carvings shimmered brighter, and a crack ran along the frozen floor, widening slowly. From it, a faint blue light spilled upward, illuminating the twins in a halo of warmth. Orin's breath caught in awe. Whatever was beneath, the massive, unseen presence, was reacting. It recognized them. Or perhaps it feared them. A shadow flitted across the ridge above, swift and deliberate. The predator had returned, circling, testing the air. Orin's chest tightened. He knew it was intelligent, watching, deciding. He had to act, but hesitation could mean death. He scanned the hollow for anything that could serve as a weapon or distraction. His eyes fell on a jagged rock, partially exposed in the snow. Grabbing it, he prepared for the moment the predator would strike. The twins stirred violently in his coat, wings flapping. The braver one emitted a high-pitched chirp that seemed almost like a command. Orin's stomach dropped. The twins weren't just responding, they were directing him, guiding his actions with instinct beyond understanding. He realized then that the storm, the predator, the ancient energy beneath the ice, all of it was connected. Every danger, every pulse of light, every movement of the twins, it formed a pattern, and he had to follow it. A sudden crack split the ice near the carvings. Orin's heart leapt. The ground beneath the twins shifted slightly, and the weaker hatchling squealed, struggling. He pressed himself down, shielding them, and the braver one flared a dazzling light, sending a ripple across the ice that stunned even Orin. The predator froze above, wings lifting instinctively. The pulse from the twins surged again, and for a brief moment, the plateau felt like it held its breath. Orin realized the stakes were higher than he could have imagined. These twins, fragile as they were, held power capable of influencing forces older than the world he knew. But he also understood that their power alone was not enough. They needed his intelligence, his courage, his quick thinking to survive the storm, the predator, and whatever slept beneath the ice. The rumble from below intensified, the shadows above shifted, and the twins' glowing bodies vibrated in his coat, tiny yet formidable. Orin tightened his grip. He would need to protect them. He would need to understand them. And he would need to move fast or none of them would survive. A sharp gust of wind tore through the plateau, carrying a distant roar from the ridge above and a deeper vibration from below. Orin's heart hammered. Something colossal had awakened. And just as he took a cautious step forward, the ground beneath him cracked wider, spilling a column of light straight into the stormy sky. The twins stiffened. Orin felt the pulse of energy resonate through him, a warning, or an invitation. Whatever was down there, whatever had been waiting for centuries, had noticed them. And now there was no turning back. The wind screamed louder than ever, tearing across the plateau, carrying snow in jagged sheets that stung Orin's face and blinded his eyes. He pressed himself against the frozen depression, the twins clutching him tightly, their glowing scales flickering like tiny beacons in the storm. Above, the massive predator circled, wings slicing the air with frightening precision. Its eyes, a deep, burning red, locked onto the twins. Orin's chest tightened. There was no more time to hesitate. He grabbed a jagged slab of ice from the edge of the hollow and hurled it toward the predator. It struck the snow with a loud crack, scattering a small spray of frozen powder into the air. The creature faltered, giving Orin the barest window. He ducked, pressing the twins against him, their wings beating rapidly, creating a strange resonance. The pulse of their glow surged violently, and the predator froze, startled by the sudden burst of light. Orin's heart raced. He whispered, "We have to move. Now." The twins chirped in response as if they understood his words. He scrambled out of the hollow, tucking them closer, and ran across the icy plateau toward a ridge that promised some protection. The snow was treacherous, hiding cracks and weak ice, but Orin's focus was absolute. Every slip could be fatal not just for him but for the twins. The predator roared, a sound that rattled the ice beneath their feet. It lunged, wings spreading wide, casting an immense shadow that swallowed Orin and the twins. He ducked instinctively and the smaller hatchling squealed, pressed tight against him. The braver one flared its light again, brighter than before. Orin felt it, a jolt through his body, a push against the predator as if the twins were sending their energy outward in defense. The creature hesitated, unsure, circling overhead. Orin reached the base of the ridge and began scrambling up. The twins wriggled, their small wings flapping, illuminating the ice around him. His muscles burned from exertion, from holding them, from climbing through a storm that wanted to throw him down. But he refused to falter. One misstep would mean death. One correct move could save them all. He adjusted the twins, murmuring reassurances he hoped they could understand. "We're almost there. Keep with me." Suddenly the ice beneath him shuddered. A deep rumble rolled through the plateau, shaking loose shards of frozen rock. Orin froze, gripping the twins tighter. The glow from their scales pulsed violently, echoing the vibration from below. The predator screeched, startled by the tremor, and faltered mid-air. Orin realized with a surge of awe that the twins weren't just reacting, they were influencing the world around them. Every pulse of light, every wing beat seemed to push back against the forces threatening them. The ground cracked wider beneath the ridge, revealing a faint fissure glowing with blue light. Orin's eyes widened. That was it, The source of the carvings, the energy that had called to the twins. He glanced at them. Their tiny heads bobbed, wings lifted, as if guiding him toward the fissure. His mind raced. The predator still loomed above, ready to strike, but the twins seemed to hold a power that could change everything. He made a split-second decision. Holding the twins close, he leaped over a jagged crack, landing hard on the icy ridge. The predator screeched in frustration and lunged, but the twins' light surged again, blinding it temporarily. Orin didn't wait. He scrambled forward, each step deliberate, driven by adrenaline and desperation. The twins chirped urgently, wings flaring with every movement. Then a shadow moved beneath the fissure, a massive form shifting in the ice. The vibration intensified, sending tremors up Orin's legs. He froze for a fraction of a second, heart hammering. The twins flared their light again, and the shadow recoiled slightly as if wary of them. Orin realized the truth. The twins were not just helpless creatures. They were guardians, keys to an ancient force, and their power could influence beings far larger than themselves. The predator circled, wings beating in frustration, but it dared not descend. Orin seized the moment. He used the ridge as cover, moving closer to the fissure. The glow from the twins illuminated the carvings etched into the ice walls, depicting dragons and humans standing together, wielding energy that shaped mountains and storms. Orin's mind raced, connecting the dots. The twins' energy, the carvings, the creature above, it was all connected. As he reached the fissure, he pressed himself against the ice, letting the twins' warmth and light flow through him. The weaker hatchling coughed but lifted its head, glowing faintly. The braver one pressed its small head to his chest, pulsing with confidence. Orin whispered, "We're not alone. We can do this." The twins chirped, wings flapping, creating a resonance that seemed to push back the predator and steady the tremors beneath. Then came the moment that would define them all. From the fissure, a surge of blue light erupted, casting long shadows across the plateau. The predator screeched and withdrew, wings flaring as the energy from the twins and the fissure intertwined. Orin pressed himself against the twins, feeling the pulse of power wash over him. For a moment, fear gave way to awe, and he understood that they had a chance. But the plateau was not yet safe. The tremors continued, more intense now, and the fissure widened. Orin realized that whatever lay beneath the ice was awakening fully. The twins' light pulsed faster, responding to the unseen force. He hugged them tightly, whispering, "Hold on. We'll face it together." A sudden crack split the ridge beneath his feet. The ice shivered violently. Orin stumbled, the twins squirming, glowing brighter with fear. The predator's shadow flickered above once more, circling but hesitant. The energy from the fissure surged again, bathing the plateau in an otherworldly glow. Orin gritted his teeth. He had no weapons, no reinforcements, only courage, instinct, and the tiny dragons depending on him. He understood now. The fight was far from over, but they had the first edge. Together, human and dragons could hold back forces larger than either alone. A deafening roar echoed from beneath the ice, shaking the snow and sending shards flying. Orin froze, heart hammering. The twins flared their wings in unison, casting a brilliant light across the plateau. And then, from the fissure, a colossal shadow moved, enormous and unseen, sliding toward the surface. Orin tightened his grip on the twins. Whatever emerged, whatever ancient power had been awakened, he would face it. And he would not fail. The storm raged around them, but Orin felt a spark of certainty. The twins were more than survival stakes. They were hope, and he would protect them no matter the cost. And as the shadow beneath the ice shifted closer, the twins' glow flared once more, pulsing like a heartbeat of defiance. The next moment would decide all of their fates. Orin's heart pounded as the colossal shadow beneath the ice surged upward, shaking the plateau with every movement. The twins' light blazed in response, pulsing through his coat and warming him despite the storm. He tightened his grip on them, feeling the power beneath them stir like a living thing. The predator above hesitated, wings flaring as if uncertain, sensing the energy that now radiated across the frozen expanse. Orin scanned the fissure, calculating. The ice could collapse at any moment. If he misstepped, the twins and he would be lost forever. But hesitation was impossible. Taking a deep breath, he planted himself firmly and whispered to the hatchlings, "We do this together. Ready?" The braver one chirped, glowing fiercely, while the weaker one lifted its tiny head, trembling but steadying. He shifted slightly, pressing their bodies to his chest and letting the twins' energy resonate through him. The fissure cracked wider, and from the depths, a massive, shimmering figure emerged. A dragon unlike any Orin had seen, scales reflecting the storm's gray and the twins' golden blue glow. Its eyes, ancient and intelligent, fixed on him. Orin swallowed hard but stood tall. Courage wasn't the absence of fear, it was acting despite it. The dragon lowered its head toward the twins. Orin's pulse raced. The braver hatchling chirped urgently, wings beating faster, and the dragon's massive head tilted, recognizing the bond. The twins' light flared, rippling through the ancient dragon like a tide, connecting them. Orin understood, the twins were not alone. They were the heirs to something long forgotten, something the ancient guardian had waited to meet. The predator above roared, circling closer, but the twins' resonance flared outward, sending it staggering back. Orin realized then that their power wasn't just defensive, it could influence even the mighty, even forces far beyond their size. He pressed them closer to his chest, murmuring, "We're stronger than we seem. Trust yourself. Trust them." The ancient dragon lowered its wings, and the twins responded, flaring their light in perfect rhythm. Orin felt the vibrations underfoot, like a pulse of life itself. Snow and ice lifted in swirling patterns around them as if the plateau acknowledged the awakening. It was a moment of pure connection, fragile yet immense. The twins chirped softly, curling against him, and Orin smiled through the storm. Small creatures, tiny hearts, had changed the course of this frozen wasteland. But the predator wasn't done. It descended rapidly, claws extended, wings beating like a thunderstorm. Orin's instinct screamed. He adjusted the twins in his arms, feeling the surge of their energy, and shouted, "Now!" The twins' light erupted in a brilliant flash, expanding outward in waves. The predator screeched, flailing as the energy struck it. Orin felt the shock pulse through his bones, almost knocking him off his feet, but he held tight. The ancient dragon above rose, wings extended, letting out a deafening roar that harmonized with the twins' energy. The predator faltered, then retreated, finally breaking away into the stormy sky, leaving the plateau silent but trembling. Orin sank to his knees, panting, holding the twins against him. Their glow dimmed slightly, pulsing now with calm, steady breaths. Relief washed over him, but it was tempered by awe. The twins had survived. They had influenced forces greater than himself. They had made a difference. Orin realized that humanity, courage, and determination had mattered here. Not just the dragon's energy but his choices, his quick thinking, his willingness to act despite fear. The ancient dragon's gaze met his. It lowered its head to the twins, nudging them gently. Orin felt a pulse of warmth and understanding, a silent acknowledgement of trust. The twins chirped, responding, curling into the guardian's massive forelegs. The plateau fell quiet, the storm slowing, the snow settling into soft drifts. Orin exhaled deeply. He had protected them. He had endured. He had succeeded. Then the twins stirred, chirping and flapping their small wings, pulling slightly at his coat. Orin looked down, surprised to see the braver hatchling peering into a newly revealed crevice in the ice. Its glow flickered, pulsing with curiosity. Orin's chest tightened. Something else was there. Something unseen, still hidden beneath the plateau. The ancient dragon stirred, its massive body shifting as if aware of the subtle movement. Orin's pulse quickened again. The twins nudged him, eager, sensing the unknown. He realized this was only the beginning. Their survival had opened a door, a path to a larger mystery that waited below the ice, something even older, even more powerful. Orin rose slowly, holding the twins securely, his heart pounding with anticipation. The plateau was quiet for now, the predator gone, the storm easing, but the energy pulsing through the twins hinted at secrets yet to reveal themselves. He glanced at the crevice, feeling the pull of curiosity, fear, and responsibility all at once. The twins chirped urgently, wings flaring, and Orin knew he could not ignore the call. The plateau, the storm, the ancient dragon, they were all pieces of something greater. The twins were not merely survivors. They were guardians. And he, a human alone in this frozen world, had become their guide. Orin took a deep breath, feeling the cold bite but pushing forward. "We've done it once," he whispered, "and we can do it again." The twins chirped in agreement, light pulsing like a heartbeat. They moved toward the crevice and he followed, understanding that the adventure was far from over. From the depths, a faint shimmer of blue light hinted at vast, hidden structures beneath the ice. Ancient carvings, glowing energy, and mysterious shapes waited to be discovered. Orin's eyes widened. The twins' light pulsed in rhythm with the glow, as if recognizing a new path. The ancient dragon lowered its massive head in acknowledgement, wings folding slowly. Orin felt a mix of awe and resolve. He had survived the storm, the predator, and the awakening force. But now, a deeper mystery beckoned, something older, something that could change everything he thought he knew about dragons, humans, and the world itself. The twins chirped, urging him forward. Orin tightened his grip, feeling the warmth and courage of the tiny creatures he had saved. He took the first step into the glowing crevice, heart racing, eyes wide. The plateau stretched behind him, silent but alive, holding secrets waiting to be uncovered. And as he descended, the faint light from below pulsed stronger, casting shadows that hinted at shapes far larger than he had ever imagined. Orin swallowed, feeling both fear and exhilaration. Whatever lay ahead, he would face it with courage, intelligence, and the tiny dragons by his side. The twins had survived. He had survived. But the true adventure, the one that would reveal the lost history of the twin dragons and the forgotten guardians of the world, was only just beginning.